Hey everyone, it's Laura here from makingcardsissun.com. Thank you so much for stopping by today. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to create a pirate scalloped box card pop-up featuring the Fawn Ahoy Matey Stamp Set. So let's get started. I'm starting out by stamping these images from the Ahoy Matey Stamp Set from Fawn on some white cardstock using Memento Tuxedo black ink. I'm using a Fawn acrylic block and my stamp Shammy to clean my stamps in between switching. This was the first time I used a Fawn acrylic block. I had kind of stepped away from using acrylic blocks since I have my Misty tool and also my tonic stamping platform, but these acrylic blocks are such a joy to work with. They are really nice and thick. They are way thicker than the cheaper acrylic blocks out there, and they also have a grid line on them, which makes it really easy to perfectly position like a sentiment stamp or any other small detailed stamp you may have to stamp straight. So just sharing that with you. I'm using my Copic sketch markers to color all of these images. I am not going to show you how I colored every single image for this card, since this video is mostly about creating and assembling the scalloped box card pop-up die from Fawn. I had a lot of fun creating this card. I absolutely love the pirate theme. I think it's perfect for summer. Right now we're having a really hot week here in Belgium. It's definitely becoming a very hot summer. I'm not a big fan of warm temperatures. I'm more of a autumn or fall person. I prefer cooler temperatures where I can dress with a sweater and put on a coat to go outside. So I'm using my Copic sketch markers to color all of these images. I'm usually using 3 shades of each to add some shading and highlighting. I also went ahead and stamped some shells from the On the Beach stamp set from Fawn on some white cardstock, coloring these with my Copic markers. I also stamped and colored the compass from the Ahoy Matey stamp set, and now I am using my coordinating dies to cut out all of these images. Next, it's time to start working on the scalloped box card pop-up from Fawn. I'm starting out by die cutting the main piece twice out of a neenah Desert Storm cardstock. I'm running this die through my Spellbinder's Platinum 6 die cutting machine. I'm also die cutting these little hill inserts from the die cut set. I'm going to die cut it twice out of neenah Desert Storm cardstock and then once out of some beautiful pool colored cardstock from Fawn. I have a linked supply list in the video description below, or if you're watching this video on my blog, I have a linked supply list on the bottom of this blog post. I went ahead and customized these little hill inserts a little bit by using border dies. To create the ocean, I am using a border die from the Stitched Simple Wavy Borders die cut set from Fawn. And then for the sand, I'm using a curved stitched border die from Pretty Pink Posh. This is from the Stitched Borders 1 die cut set. I'm also going to use these little Sandy Beach Accents dies from Fawn to create some little inserts so I can put some colored images inside these little slits. So it looks like these images will be stuck in the sand. So I will run that through my die cutting machine, and then you can see that this die has created a slit for you. Next, I'm using this little wave stamp from the Ahoy Matey stamp set from Fawn, and I'll be heat embossing that on this pool cardstock. So I stamped it with VersaMark ink, and then I sprinkled on some opaque bright white embossing powder from Wow, and then I heat set that with my heat tool. Now it's time to assemble my scallop box card pop-up. I am folding along the scored lines using my bone folder, and you want to make sure not to fold over each flap. So you want the second, you want one of the biggest flaps not to be folded. So one of these two has to stay nice and straight, because that will be the back of your scalloped box card pop-up, and you want to make sure that you can decorate that nicely and that it doesn't fold backwards. After folding along the scored lines, I applied some double-sided adhesive. I'm using 1/8 of an inch Scor-Tape, and I am using my bone folder to really burnish that adhesive and to make sure that it's nice and sticky. For these little hill inserts, I'm doing exactly the same. I'm folding along the scored lines, and then I can start to decorate them. I used my Tonic Nouveau Smooth Precision Adhesive pen to adhere these little images together. And then I'm putting on some extra adhesive to slide that through this little sandy beach accent. And now it looks like these two images are stuck in the sand, which I think is just so cute, and it's a really nice touch to this card. I'm also going to adhere my little starfish over here. This is from the On the Beach stamp set from Fawn. So are those little shells, by the way. I'm adhering my little boat on my ocean insert, and then when you line these up, you have to make sure that not all of your images are adhered on the same side, because that way they won't show up very well. So as you can see, for the boats, I adhered that on the right of my hill insert, and then I adhered the other images on the left. The palm tree is a little bit higher than the other images, so in this case it wasn't really that bad that those images were all adhered on the left side of your inserts. I peeled off the backer sheet of my double-sided adhesive on the left side on my hill insert, and then I am lining these up with the scored line on the top. And this is a really easy way to line up your inserts and to adhere everything at once. I prefer doing this than adhering the inserts after folding the little box. So I'm making sure that I have everything lined up nice and straight, just burnishing that double-sided adhesive a little bit, peeling off the backer, and then I can carefully close that up just like a book, and then you will have your really beautiful scalloped box card pop-up. Now that we have the outside of your scallop box ready, and we also got the inserts in, it's time to finish this off and to decorate the edges. First, I'm going ahead, I'm just going to adhere one more palm tree on one of my inserts using my Tonic Nouveau Smooth Precision Adhesive Glue Pen. And I'm sorry that my hat was in the way. I have this problem so many times when filming. My hat is in the way a lot of times, and I really have to be mindful of it and to remember that, you know, I am filming and that people don't want to see my hat the whole time. So I'm going to decorate the edges of my scalloped box card. So I ran that main die partially through my die cutting machine by lining it up with the edge of my cutting plate. I'm using my scissors and my guillotine from Tonic to tape that down. And then I'm going to decorate the other edges. So you don't necessarily have to cover this up, but my die cutting machine kind of damages the paper and it's not as neat and clean as I would like it to be. So I'm just going to run my main panel once more through my die cutting machine using the same neenah Desert Storm cardstock. And I am using that scored line as a guide so I can see where I have to cut it with my guillotine. I'm using these little stitched rectangles and squares from the die cut set, and I am die cutting these out of the Spiffy Speckles pattern paper from Fawn. I'm assembling these little squares using my ATG from Scotch. You can also use a liquid adhesive, but I really prefer to use this ATG from Scotch. So there we go. Now you can see, or you can't really see it on camera, but in real life you can really see the difference between the finished side on the right and then the unfinished, or at least to me, unfinished side on the left. And I was wondering if you experience the same problem. My die cutting machine always creates these little, or it kind of damages the back sides of the paper that I die cut. So for instance, on these colored images over here, the back side is kind of damaged from my die cutting machine, and it doesn't really look that clean and neat. I used these little heart dies from the Scalloped box card pop-up die cut set, and I die cut these ones because it creates 3 little hearts. I'm using some foam squares to adhere all of my images, and I'm also using my Tonic Nouveau Smooth Precision adhesive glue pen to adhere the smaller images and just to create a little bit of a difference in dimension. Finally, I'm using a VersaMark clear overlay shimmer pen to apply a coat of glitter, and then it's time to create my sentiment piece for this card. I used the fancy stitched banner die cut set from Fawn to create a stitched banner. I also die cut that out of the Spiffy Speckles pattern paper from Fawn, and then I'm stamping on a sentiment from the Ahoy Matey Stamp Set using some Memento Tuxedo black ink. I'm adhering my stitched banner to the back panel of my box card using foam squares, and that finishes up this card. So as you can see, you can close that up, and then when you open it, you can see all of these little details and these lovely images. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like this video and leave me a comment because I love to read them and reply to them. I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.